Hello and welcome to a rather warm greenhouse. It's the Victoria Day long weekend here in Canada, and I'm just taking the chance to do a bit of more potting up. The busy time here in the greenhouse, lots more potting up. I've been potting up tomatoes and peppers, and as you can see, the greenhouse is still topped up with mostly peppers and basil, etc. Few tomatoes down the bottom end. Most of my tomatoes are now in the bottom greenhouse, as you can see, and that is topped up nicely with tomatoes, nearly ready to go out. And I'll be selling a few of those over the next few weeks, hopefully as well, the ones that I don't use, and giving some to friends. As you can see, the middle part of the greenhouse, the middle bed, is still full up with greens, lettuce and spinach. The spinach there has been producing hand over fist over the last few weeks. It's in peak producing season at the moment. But as you can see here also, some of the plants are bolting and going to seed. The Asian greens and the arugula rocket is a shot up now. It doesn't like the hot weather, and it's getting rather hot in the greenhouse now, even when I've got, you know, two windows and another window in the roof there. Even though I've got those windows open, it gets really hot in here, and they're definitely not liking it. So I would imagine the other greens, and I think I can see the romaine lettuce there starting to sort of go over. They're going to be going over the next few weeks, and it was reminding me about succession planting and making sure I've got a succession of plants. And I've actually started, what did I do the other day? I sowed a load of lettuce seeds the other day, because like I said, these are starting to go over. Fortunately, on the outside bed, as you can see there, I've got my follow-on plants. So in this bed I've already got some different types of greens. I've got the Asian greens here, even though they're not particularly green, as you can see, but they're growing nicely now. They're taking over from the ones that have gone to seed in the greenhouse. And again, the same with the rocket or arugula. I've got some lettuce over there and some spinach, even though my main spinach bed is over the other side. This is my mixed bed, but this is going to do me for the next few weeks. More Asian greens and rocket, etc. around here. Now, I want to be thinking about these Asian greens are already starting to go over, so I need to be sowing some more Asian greens, some more lettuce for the next few weeks to get myself going over the next few months. And then as I'm about to pull them out in the greenhouse to change over into tomatoes and cucumber, etc., I can plant them up in here. And also I'm thinking of planting them in the bed just by the greenhouse there, because that's a bit shadier, and in the hot months of the summer where your lettuce and arugula and Asian greens would quickly bolt because they don't like the heat, a nice bit of early sun in the mornings will be nice for them, and then they'll go into the shade in the afternoon and they can have the nice cool area there, and that will make them last longer. So I've got a nice succession again of greens all the way from early spring. In fact, I had some in the autumn, in the winter, didn't I? From early spring all the way through the summer here and in the shady bed, and then planting up in my other beds when the autumn comes, getting ready to get a nice harvest. So I'll sow some indoors in the greenhouse around August time, ready to plant out in September to last me all the way through the autumn. And then my greenhouse will take over for a sowing and a growing, bit of a poet there, sowing and, you know, and growth all the way up to Christmas time. And then I've got some lettuce for a nice starter on Christmas Day. Coming back to the spinach. Now, spinach again is another one of those green cool weather plants, and even though it's producing really well at the moment, again the heat will soon make that want to start producing flowers. I'm trying to keep it well watered all the time, but the heat will make it, trigger it into producing flowers. So then I'll be moving over to my bed over there, as you can see, and that's got lots of, that's a whole bed of spinach now, and that's just starting to grow nicely and starting to produce a decent amount of green leaves. So over the next few weeks there, I'll be switching over to that bed, and that'll be my next succession of spinach leaves for the early part of the summer. And then I'll be moving that bed over to yellow beans. So we've had our early succession of spinach, and that will be over the next sort of month or so, and then the yellow beans that I've been growing from seed early here, I'll be putting those in with the spinach, and I'll probably interplant them to sort of have a bit of an overlap. So while the yellow beans are small, the spinach will still be producing. And as you can see, succession planting is a very important part of the gardener's toolkit. We don't want our real estate, for want of a better phrase, going unused for half of the time that it's available. But we need a bit of prior planning there, and me being a project manager by trade, that's sort of something I like to think I'm half decent at. But anybody can do it, and I've showed before in other videos, getting yourself a planting plan and then sort of putting all of your different beds on a piece of paper, and then just mapping it out for every single month of the growing season. And then you can be thinking ahead, right, once this garlic goes over, then it's time to plant something else. And now, talking about garlic, this garlic is going nice and strong now in May, and I should be harvesting it around July time. But what then? I've got an empty bed. Well, even though I'm very soon, in the next week or so, going to be planting up the yellow bush beans that I've pre-sown, and they'll be harvesting probably around the same time as these garlic. What about a second flush of yellow bush beans? They're quick to grow, so therefore, if I look about when I'm going to be harvesting these, and you can obviously tell by when the garlic scapes come, they'll be coming, and then it's only a few weeks after that we'll be thinking about harvesting the actual garlic. But I can sow some yellow bush beans again early in the greenhouse, get them ready, so as soon as I pull out the garlic, it's a quick refresh, and then in go the yellow bush beans for a second harvest, and I've got a nice succession of bush beans all the way through the summer then, haven't I? And then I can even be thinking about, after the yellow bush beans, I could be putting in some more of the spinach and get an autumn harvest of the spinach, and then I've got a real good 1, 2, 3 flushes of food out of the one bed. Maybe give it a refresh with some compost, but excellent. So in all these different instances with your first crop, think about what are you going to plant there next, and don't wait until you're actually harvesting. Let's think about it now. So I've said about the garlic, yellow beans are going in for a second succession there, and then possibly spinach or lettuce for a third succession there. So I've got a full use of that real estate, and all the other bit. Peas, they're going to be going, early summer. What am I going to put in there then? The tomatoes, they'll be going all the way through, so that bed will be used up. But all of the different beds, what can I be putting in there, whether it be midsummer or in the autumn? Carrots. Can we have a second succession of carrots, and you could be planting those or sowing those in September in a bed that sort of become free, and then you could be harvesting them early winter, and if you look after them, you could be harvesting them quite the way through winter. So lots of different ideas there for succession planting, and having fresh food all the way from the early season. Now we're coming into sort of late spring, early summer. Some nice, our first offerings of lettuce and greens will be starting to go over. Then we'll be putting our summer fruit in, tomatoes, and a little bit later then the corn. So what we got put in after the corn has gone over. So just thinking about that cool season. Now we're going into, I'm still in the cool season now. Some of you will be going into the warm and the hot season soon. And then again, thinking about August time. You want to be thinking about August time. What am I going to be planting in this second cool season from September onwards? A little bit of planning, and that, you know, that's good fun in itself. A little bit of planning can get you that food all the way through, and nice, juicy, fresh food, whether it be tomatoes, whether it be cool lettuce now, cool lettuce later on, some nice spinach as you're going into the autumn, some nice chard or some kale as you're going into autumn and you're starting to want to warm things up. A little bit of planning will serve you great. Job's a good one.